Gambling. It's a weird topic for a professional Minecraft speedrunner to talk about, but it's one I'm surprisingly well versed in. Maths has always been a strong suit of mine, having a degree in engineering science from Oxford University, and side hustles to make money have been a weird passion of mine too. So, during this ranked run that I hit today, which is a season PB, by the way, I've just decided to start yapping to you about gambling, because it's something that I'm quite knowledgeable about. So, I'm going to tell you a little story about how one gambling site took about £20 from me, which is, I don't know, about $25 US, and how I set out to ruin them to the best of my abilities. Unsurprisingly, I've been exposed to gambling from a pretty young age, as has probably the majority of my generation and the people listening to this. Firstly, for me, it was a thing called match attacks. In the UK, these are huge collectible trading cards, but rather than things like Pokemon on them, it was football players. And for me, as a young boy, it was something that I cared a lot about. Obviously, football is a massive, massive influential factor for everything that I do online. And this was no different, obviously. This wasn't online at the time. It was things that we were trading in the playground, getting my grandma to, saving up from my grandma's pocket money to try and, buy an extra pack of these cards and see if I can pull a legendary. And it was quite an easy in to gambling. And, don't get it twisted, because that's definitely what it is. You're spending money hoping to pull something that's a rare outcome. That's the same with everyone opening Pokemon packs these days, or opening these Labubu boxes or whatever. The gacha stuff. I mean, it's no difference to the next step up, which for me was video games. Once I was 11, I bought Minecraft. My grandma bought Minecraft for me on her laptop, which I'm sure I'll make a little commentary video about one day. But at the moment, more than ever, microtransactions are all over video games these days. And for me, growing up, the biggest culprits were FIFA and CSGO. Obviously, FIFA no longer called FIFA, and CSGO no longer called CSGO. Coins and skins, respectively, had this real-world value attributed by the community. So whether you had 100,000 coins, you could hypothetically pay someone to give you those coins. Same with CSGO skins. Leading to an easy way for these third-party websites to make enticing offers for you to eventually lose all of your virtual items on. Thankfully, governments and games themselves have cracked down pretty hard on these third-party websites in the past, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so, making it way more difficult to be playing roulette to win an in-game item that's worth literally thousands of dollars. I've got tons of stories of friends, I should say, that, have gambled away loads and loads of hundreds, thousands of dollars worth of Counter-Strike skins, which, even though they don't hold any real-life value inherently, they have a real-life value attributed to them through their rarity and through their perceived value of the community. And even though those websites have kind of been cracked down on recently, it hasn't stopped the games directly themselves from still having these, inherent gambling tropes within them. Both FIFA, which is now EAFC, and CS2, rather than CSGO, still have these packs, cases, capsules that you can buy with real-life money and receive in-game items worth a varying amount. And this, again, is just a different form of gambling, but none of it's really enforced. Okay, so CS2 is a PEGI 18 game, technically, so I guess the owners can kind of wipe their hands from the issue because, everyone playing this game must be 18, so they must be able to, open these cases and stuff. But in reality, this is, really far from the case. far from the case. That was a good one. Anyway, when I turned 18, I wanted to try and, beat the bookies, which I think anyone who watches some level of sports believes that they can do. And after 4 weeks, my account only had £20 of the initial 40 that I deposited. And I knew at that point, I think that one guy picking teams that I thought were playing well in the Premier League could not outperform a plethora of algorithms and traders and, people that actually know what they're doing, whose job it is to make sure that all of these lines are exactly correct. And here's where things, I think, could have turned for me. I could have continued down this rabbit hole, depositing paycheck after paycheck, working minimum wage retail job, which I was at the time. betting on outcomes that surely had to hit because this team's playing so well and they're never going to have a bad day. Which, surprisingly, would always be let down by just one team that they should have won or they should have scored. Or, you know, stop my losses and quit for good. Safe to say, I actually did neither of these two options. Losing £20 for me was enough to seek some level of vengeance, so I turned to some forums on how to profitably beat bookmakers. Sports betting is a pretty unbeatable game, unless you decide to take advantage of the bookmakers themselves. And so I started something called matched betting. This is effectively where you sign up to a bunch of different websites and get their free sign-up bonuses. You know the ones, you've probably seen them on the TV if you've ever watched sports. It's like, bet $10 and receive $100 in free play kind of thing. It's that type of thing. But using these different websites, you can bet on both sides of an outcome to guarantee a profit. And I absolutely loved it. Spreadsheets, analyzing odds, checking percentage returns on those free bets. Bro, I was finding American horse races at 3 a.m. UK time because I profited like 2% more on average if I did American horse racing because their odds were slightly better. And then this is, unfortunately, where things started to come to an end. Because the websites began to notice, this guy isn't like our normal customers who put £10 on 100 to 1 ACCA, and then he's putting these free bets on this horse to win, and whether it wins or loses, he does the same thing the next day. And all of a sudden, those free offers and free bets, they started to dry up quite fast. Luckily for me, I'd made back the £20 that I'd lost, and then some, from this little hustle, but I still really wasn't satisfied. I wanted to take every penny that I could from those sites that prey on addicts and regular punters. So next, it was arbitrage betting. This is very similar to match betting, but without needing to use those free bets. Betting on both sides of an outcome on two different websites with different odds to ensure a tiny profit. And this adds up to a lot in the long run, but rather than these betting sites no longer giving you those free offers and free bets, they start limiting or even closing your accounts, which prevents you from making any more profit. And last week, while placing some for fun bets in person at a Counter-Strike event, which is ironic, everything circled back in the end. And I knew I was very likely to lose. I'm sitting in the crowd watching it in person with a little bit of the rush, you know? I got an email saying that my account had been restricted, limiting me to placing bets under £1. As the title says, I personally think that gambling is terribly addictive, and in all honesty, really stupid. The phrase, Vegas wasn't built on winners, is beautiful, because it reminds you that the luxury of beautiful, vast casinos was paid for by every customer statistically losing 3 to 10% of any money they decide to gamble every single time they place a bet. It, quite frankly, hypocritically angers me to see my friends place a multitude of bets on, because I know I did the same thing, and I still do the same thing now. The buzz and the rush is exhilarating. But rather than placing $10 on a bet thinking that you could double it, understand that thousands of people have placed that exact same bet. And thousands of people have placed the exact opposite bet to you, all hoping to win. But in reality, it's the bookmaker that's already won. I have a real-life friend who's close enough to me to open up about his gambling addiction. I helped him out of a tough spot once, and they invited me to go to his medal ceremony at GA, Gamblers Anonymous, where I got to hear the absolute extremities of what you can lose to gambling. Now, one of the most important things with GA is what is said in the room doesn't leave the room. So I won't say any of the stories, but they really left their mark. I actually got up at the meeting and spoke myself, talking about how my friend and I bonded over poker. And I didn't know whether we'd be quite as close after we lost that connection. But most importantly, how proud I was of them for not gambling for a whole year. He's still free of gambling, not gambling at the moment, and I'm really proud of him. But nonetheless, this was an interesting topic that I wanted to talk about, something that I'm quite knowledgeable about, and I thought I'd do it over my new season ranked PB. Hell yeah, everyone celebrate. Anyway, this is a beautiful zero cycle. I'm really happy. It's the second sub 10 that I've hit this season. I'm playing a little bit above my pay grade at the moment, I think. But yeah, tell me if you like these commentary videos. Don't forget to subscribe and like and do all of the normal YouTube stuff. Obviously, this is a second channel video, so I put a little bit less effort into it, but I still think it's pretty cool. If you like these videos, let me know. I can definitely run some more. Thanks.